Hi, everybody. This is day 1,674 days since Richard was brutally, premeditatedly, treasonously murdered on Fort Bliss in the line of duty for reporting criminal trafficking. That trafficking um, is connected to his unit. The trafficking is also connected to the Sinaloa cartel, who are now designated as terrible, terrible organizations, right? Terrible organizations. So, um, I'm not allowed to, I guess I was told, I shouldn't say that word, so I'm using terrible. You get it. I'll make sure I'm on. Shouldn't say that word, so I'm using terrible. You get. Yeah. So, I really value free speech. I think we should. But, I also know that speech has to be guarded also. There is ethics with it. And so I think it's a pretty difficult situation when people can't self-govern that, right? Can't self-govern, but we need to be able to tell the truth. We need to be able to speak the truth. And so here I am every night, sometimes during the day, and the information is just flowing in. Matter of fact, I wanted to put my notes over, but I didn't. So I'll just try to do it all by memory. Um, because things are just happening that are just amazing, and trying to pull out what's really important in Richard's case, because there's a lot of negotiations going on in Mexico. You see that with the extradition of criminals in the cartels. Um, we have a big one that's connected to Richard's case, and his name is Elmayo Zambada. And it looks like it that he will be extradited to Mexico, back to Mexico. He's in the United States right now. And this, uh, what we're learning is that the Sinaloa cartel is very international. It's in many different countries around the world. That this is makes Richard's case a very, very sensitive case, since El Paso is the front door to the United States, and really this huge infiltration to control El Paso by the Sinaloa cartel. They make billions and billions of dollars. This is not some kind of absurd suggestion. And of course, now it's being reported all through the media how the Sinaloa cartel also, with their connections, it's not like they're, without their connections, right? And they make billions and billions, and they absolutely we have the proof, infiltrated into El Paso and has caused a constitutional crisis, in El Paso. And you see that in the courthouse, in the county courthouse, in the federal courthouse, in the DA's office, in the FBI, in the law enforcement, in the EPIC, um, and of course on Fort Bliss, in the, you know, uh, in the ISDs. In the ISDs, can you believe that? In the ISDs, in the independent school districts, you see it. You see it. We have hard evidence. Can you believe that? It's just, wow. It's heartbreaking. Um, and so, when Richard, we said this a long time ago, at the beginning, we're like, what string did he pull on? What string did he pull on? Um, that unraveled everything. It's the Sinaloa cartel. It's the Sinaloa cartel infiltration into El Paso's most cherished institutions, right? Well, is it most cherished? And because they've mucked it up, right? They've mucked it up. They've mucked up the prestige of our government. Um, they've abused it with fraud, waste, and abuse. And they've done that with our military. And you saw how low the numbers were getting in recruiting in the military when it was really full on mucked up to no good, stinky, stinky. I don't know how, I'm trying to say this the way it is. It was just, people just would hold their nose and walk away. They didn't want to be any part of it because they saw the fraud, waste, and abuse. They saw the treasonous aspect of what was going on, the betrayal of our country. And they would just, shake their head because they knew, especially as an example of Richard's case and of, I believe, the Vanessa Guillen case. I believe she also, well, we know she was a whistleblower, and her mother made it very clear that it was more complicated than what they were reporting, and she pointed to the headquarters building on Fort Hood, which is now Fort Cavazos. Did they rename it Fort Hood? I know they renamed Fort Bragg. Um, so you know, and of course, her chain of command and her General Michael Garrett, who's absolutely needs to be court-martialed, absolutely needs to be stripped from his prestige. What gives him that prestige is we do. We give him that uniform. We entrust that uniform to him. We entrust all of his stars to him. We entrust it's us. It's a government of the people, by the people, for the people, and we give him the benefits, the veterans benefits, the and which is really really good, very good benefits, because we appreciate the defense of our country. But when they have betrayed it, they need to be court-martialed, and that's Michael Garrett. Michael Garrett absolutely has betrayed the prestige of his 4 stars, and many others. Donna Martin, absolutely 3 stars. She was given a star for her mucking up, and she absolutely mucked everything up. She absolutely mucked it all up, and I think it's treasonous. I think it's so treasonous that she really needs to be held accountable for that, because she was the provost marshal. She was the IG. Um, you know, uh, and the same, with all of them, they had so much prestige, they had so much power, and the abuse of power is just astonishing. Astonishing how bold and brazen they had become, which tells you that the Sinaloa cartel and their connections um, were also bold and brazen. They were set. They were set. They had set themselves up really well in our system, and so much so that they could target and attack the president of the United States. They could target and attack. I can say Richard Halliday, right? A soldier, a U.S. Army soldier. They've been doing that for a long time. And this is in no way diminishing the treasonous murder of our son. But they're bold and brazen um, to be in charge of the security of our military bases, to break security. Of course, when this all began and I spoke to so many Gold Star families, they all were confused, and didn't understand how the barracks were so dangerous, how our military bases were so dangerous for our volunteer sons and daughters, why there were so many sexual assaults, why there was so many um, real injuries in many, many different ways. And so much um, breaking of the SOPs, the standard operating procedures. And I need, I always say I'm going to dig them out, and maybe I have them here. Um, but the standard operating procedures for the barracks, absolutely every point of it has been broken. Every point. It's such a dereliction of duty, and it was systemic, absolutely systemic. So systemic that General Mealy said that he rather, give a, an, a foreign country a heads up against against our own country, which is the president of the United States. He is being investigated now. Uh, and this is the point. And is that connected to the trafficking? Is it connected to the weapon smuggling, the equipment smuggling? The whole military equipment and military grade weapons and ammunition trafficking. And of course, this whole Afghanistan botched return of Afghanistan, leaving all of the equipment, including Humvees and helicopters and um, night vision goggles, which were coveted because they were a technology that they didn't have, that we had. We had the upper hand. We had that technology, and we left them there for them to have that technology. Um, it is, it's so treasonous. It's such a betrayal. And so, and why am I saying this? Because what's going on in El Paso, the betrayal has become like a culture within the Sinaloa um, infiltrated institutions. And we have been reporting, and it seems like those reports now are having a big effect. Um, Jaime Esparza was fired. We have been told that our request to have him fired was honored. And we are very grateful for that, very grateful. But we also are getting information that more that we requested, because it wasn't just Jaime Esparza that we requested to be fired. Um, it was more, and that is ongoing and it's happening. And so I want to talk about the lending out of prestige, and that we're very, very hopeful right now because it's all being exposed, and it's really heartbreaking when it's being exposed. It's it's like, gathering all the stinky, the smelly, the betrayal and everything and putting it in a trash bag. And it's no fun. But at least you can get rid of it, right? At least you can dispose of it, dispose of the pollution, dispose of what was stinky and smelly and obstructing justice. Also, manufacturing, manufacturing and or setting down an environment for crime, right? And allowing, covering up for um, the crime that's surrounding the criminal, well, of the trafficking, the criminal trafficking, but all the crime that surrounds that. All the, because it's not just an isolated criminal trafficking crime. Um, all of that is like pollution, right? And it spreads out and it causes more crime and it causes economic hardships, a lot of economic hardships. And so this is really, a very hopeful time. Thank you, Danielle, for coming on. Thank you, Martha, for your prayers and your love. It is really an amazing time. So we have been keeping up with other countries that are connected to this hub um, called El Paso of this Sinaloa criminal trafficking network. And that is absolutely connected to the brutal on Fort Bliss death, um, murder of our son. And why is this important? To get accountability and to get our son's remains. Those are our goals, but maybe God has different intentions because what's being exposed, um, please God, let it help other people. Let it help other people. We don't want anyone else to have to go through what we are going through. Is we're still going through it, what we have gone through, what we are still going through. And we are hopeful that more and more hopeful every day that we are inch by inch getting justice. I don't think justice comes in one big package, right? It doesn't just come in one big package. It is step by step, and it's hard work. It's very hard work because we are a country by the people, for the people, of the people. And if I've learned anything from this, it is that. It is that we are the ones that they fear the most, that control them. And you see, like Gavin Newsom, right? Gavin Newsom, of course, he's losing his power and his connections. So where is he going? He's going to podcasting, right? Did you see that? He's going to podcasting because he has to maintain the information and the connection to the people. And because we're the fuel, we're the drivers, we're it, and we have to drive our government to do the right thing. And I think we've at least I can talk about personal experience. I was just obedient civilian, right? I just thought, they know what they're doing. They're so smart, and they've got the laws that they have to follow, and that it'll be okay. But it's not. It's not because they absolutely have manipulated the system so that they uh, they can commit crime with impunity, right, and not be held accountable, violating the laws while doing it, but not being held accountable for it. When you have like Patrick Crusius, and let's talk about Patrick Crusius a little bit. They weaponize the system against him. I really feel that way. Do I feel that he was there? Absolutely, he was there. He was there. Was he up to no good? Um, that needs to be investigated. That needs to be investigated because when he surrendered himself twice, he surrendered himself twice, y'all. The first time he was told to go away. Um, when he surrendered himself to a Hispanic officer, you know, come on. He's supposed to be hate filled, whatever. So we already have it confirmed many, many different ways that that whole narrative of racism and am I allowed to say that? All that is just one big lie. It was just one big narrative, a divisive narrative. And but they had people, his family is in the federal courthouse. His family is in the DA's office. His family is in the FBI's office. His family is at Walmart security, right? In Walmart security. And they gave him 7,000 years of prison, 90 life sentences. 90 life sentences. I mean, the first time your mind doesn't even want to calculate it. You have to sit down and really try to calculate what that means. And that was by, a plea deal between Joe Spencer and David Guadarrama, lending out the prestige of the federal courthouse because Patrick Crucius's family, Michael Mayella, was the director, the manager of the federal courthouse. Manager, you know, the one that puts all these cases together, that has access to all these cases and all the information of the cases. And Judge Guadarrama absolutely lent his prestige um, for James Montoya lately. Absolutely made deals with Joe Spencer, the defense attorney. Just so many violations that are just, you can't repair them. They have to be held accountable for the damage that they did and the lying. Can you imagine the lying that they've done to their bosses? Because we're the bosses. So when they lie to us, they're lying to their boss. We the people. We the people. That's what they've done. So this is what do you call that? What do you call that? Mutiny? Is that a mutiny? I don't know. I need to look that up, what that is. So, and then it goes on, right? It goes on to the Department of State, the representative, Gonzalez, right? Um, what's his name? Someone help me out. I just read about him. Tony Gonzalez, right? Tony Gonzalez. So Tony Gonzalez is up to no good. We know he's up to no good. Like Veronica Escobar, he's up to no good because he would have responded to us, right? He did respond to us once, but we knew that he was directed by some foreign entity, right? Some foreign entity. Because if he was the representative that he was supposed to be, he would have absolutely responded, just like Veronica Escobar. She denied us a congressional hearing. She denied a soldier that was a witness to Richard's case a congressional hearing. This is just unforgivable. It's just unforgivable. It's such a violation. And so we knew that Tony Gonzalez was really up to no good. And so with this latest stunt, um, it is very clear that ever since January 20th, and I think it was really November 5th, um, they want to delay the actual vote count. But anyway, but since President Trump was sworn in, and day one, there was no hesitation from him to declare the Sinaloa cartel a terrible group, which has enormous legal consequences to that. There was a real shakeup in El Paso. And we saw the Mexican president meeting with um, low level, like Samaniego County Judge Samaniego. I think the mayor was the mayor of El Paso, meeting with the president of Mexico, right? In this little private little Zoom meeting. Um, what WTH, right? WTH. You know, um, y- you don't do that. You don't do that. You have counterparts. And I learned about counterparts because my parents worked in the American embassy in Moscow, Russia in the 1990s. Matter of fact, my dad saw from the American embassy in Moscow, Russia, he saw the coup on the White House. He saw the shots fired. He saw Yeltsin from his window in the tanks, right? In the tanks. Remember all that when all that happened with Yeltsin? I don't know if you remember. It's a big thing in our family because we were stationed in Germany at the time. And, we were on the phone with my dad. Are you okay? Are you okay? Is the embassy okay? Um, so yeah, my dad and my mom worked at the American embassy there. My mom happened to be in Germany with us visiting. I think I was having a baby. I think I was having a baby during that time. Um, yeah, and yeah, my mom was with us, and so we were trying to talk to my dad, make sure that he was okay, and he meant. Remember when Sonny Bono uh, was uh, uh, was a congressman. He really liked Sonny Bono when he met him at the embassy there in Russia. But you have to be invited a certain way, and you have to have, there's all of these protocols because of the way a consulate works and an embassy works. And you have to, there's, you, can you imagine president any president of a country meeting with um, unequal counterparts to try to figure out border policy? you know, Border policy. Oh, we need to figure out border policy here. And we're going to use the representative for El Paso for border policy. Um, I don't think that's what you do. And you don't use the consulate for that. But if you go on to Tony Gonzalez's website, I guess it's there. Um, I guess it's there. Let's see if yeah, that was just something else. I have it right here in front of me. And if you go there, you can see him there. It is so crazy, y'all. It is the craziest thing. Um, oh yeah. Hold on. I am going to do this real quick because I think this is so important. Oh man. So yeah. So Tony Gonzalez was there at the consulate with General Counsel Foley. So we've been, and he was meeting with like the mayor of Juarez, right? Um, so Tony Gonzalez is federal. The mayor of Juarez is not federal. And they're in the consulate. And there's, a lot of irregularities here and violations here and just a lot of how can I explain it? I'll just do it in my terms. Stinky, stinky, no good, stinky, no good stuff going on here. And you just can't do what they're doing because the the people in charge of Chihuahua have been already exposed that they are infiltrated, also are run by the Sinaloa cartel. So you can't invite Sinaloa cartel compromised or actual members when they have been declared terroristic or, oh, I said it, terrible organizations into the American U.S. Consulate without Senator Rubio, without, it just, sorry, he's not Senator Rubio anymore. He's Secretary of State, right? Secretary of State. Um, well, think about that. Think about that. So I think that your eyes should be on that. I think the people should know about that. I think you can look that up and analyze that and absolutely understand the security breaches and national security breaches in that meeting. Maybe contact and voice your opinion to Counsel General Foley if he's still there, if he's still there, um, because I don't think this made anybody happy, and I think that you should absolutely write to Tony Gonzalez and voice your opinion. This is a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. And I know that we have lived in a time of huge retaliation. We have just gone through 4 years of retaliation, y'all. I mean, the things that have been done to us is just like jaw dropping. So I absolutely understand the retaliation. So, this is just for the brave-hearted, for the, uh, uh, people that feel like we do. We have to do this, right? We have to do this for our future and for our country. And all I'm talking about is voicing an opinion, paying attention to what they're doing, and voicing an opinion. And, it seemed like the last 4 years, if you voiced an opinion, they wanted to shut you down. They wanted to send you messages of the most vile, vulgar, sex cult laced, harassing messages uh, to a Gold Star family about you in order to silence you. They would go through watching day in and day out, forming all kinds of, let me get this phone, right? This burner phone and this burner phone, and I don't know, like the same person would use four different burner phones, um, and just in order to harass you, in order to shut you up. That's how important free speech is. That's how important your voice is. It's so important. And we know that these were paid agents, right? That these agents were absolutely paid, that they were absolutely working for a criminal network, a criminal group. We absolutely have all the evidence. We've reported it over and over again. And so people actually will get their little group, criminal group together just to figure out ways to shut people up that want to make America great again, or protect the Constitution, or want justice for crimes committed, violent crimes, any kind of crimes, and to hold people accountable. They want to act and do their criminal network with impunity. They want all their billions of dollars that they have made destroying people's lives, and they will take that money and infiltrate and then they will create their own little media. They will absolutely infiltrate the media, and they will create their own little bully gangs. They're little bully gangs that go up to shut everyone up, and so that they can continue operating illegally without paying any money, paying any taxes, right? They'll make billions of dollars. They don't have to pay taxes, right? And then they get these benefits, right? They use our system to get benefits. So then they steal through the system for the benefits of the system, taking the benefits away from people that are duly qualified and giving them to unqualified or even people that no longer are living. And this is what's coming out. This has been coming out through our investigation for 4 years, and now it's being corroborated by what Doge is finding, what President Trump is saying right now. And uh, it's such a confirmation to us that that our reports have gotten out there, and that other people's reports have gotten out there, and that the truth is becoming very, very clear. That there is a big scam going on covering up for this criminal network. And that is, these people, they're not just, some of them are very thuggy, but some of them wear suits. Some of them wear suits. A lot of them wear suits. A lot of them wear suits. A lot of them wear heels. That's why I said to Yvonne Rosales, get your heels out. Get your heels out. Put your best suit on and march right in there to the DA and assert your power. Assert your power, because she is really, until Governor Abbott appoints or there's a new election or something happens, we'll see what happens. We've been doing our part in filing all of our findings. We don't try to sit on anything. We try to file, 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 because we had no idea that just trying to find out what happened to our son would expose all of this other fraud and criminal activity that we are obligated to turn in and file, document and file. And yeah, so we're hoping that Foley is not there anymore, because he was essential in getting that meeting organized in our consulate. And so, that would be very good news, very good news, because he's just up to no good, and he's not a nice person. Okay, I'm just gonna I'll say that too. I don't try to, um, you know, uh, define the character as far as, if they're likable or not. The likability, define the likability of the person. He's not likable. Okay, I'm just gonna be right out there. He has no. He's just not a nice. He's a cringe. He's a cringe. I can tell you that right now. Some of these criminals are, have, uh, have some, and that's the ones you have to be really careful of. They have some charisma, right? They have some charisma, and they have some sense of um, the political talk, the um, what's the word that I'm trying to get out? Diplomacy, that they have diplomacy training, right? They have diplomacy training, and then they're like that they can really do a psyop on you. You have to be very, very careful, and be very vigilant. But Foley wasn't one of those. Foley, I don't even know how he ever got his position. It's like, really? This is not just any position, you know. This is right there in Juarez, Mexico. It's huge. It's huge. I mean, Juarez is suffering so much. It's so violent over there. It's such a huge, they need diplomacy, right? They need diplomacy. They need a deal maker, and someone that can, in a very clever way, say without offending that this violence has to stop, that this cartel activity has to stop. And and it's yeah, and that's who they got, is this person with no diplomacy skills at all. Very not very nice at all. No wonder things were going downhill very quick over there. No wonder. And here we have these last attempts. I mean, they're really showing themselves. How could they even dare go into our consulate when the federal counterparts of Mexico were not there with them? If the federal counterparts of Mexico were with them for this meeting on border security, I mean, is that what they were talking about? I mean, are they just panicking to figure out how to keep their multi-billion-dollar business going without impunity? They don't, um, I don't know. I don't know what the conversation was, but they paint this picture. And Tony Gonzalez just lost. I mean, yeah, there wasn't that much respect there in the first place, because I know he's up to no good. But to do this is a huge betrayal to our country. And we have absolutely, you know, given him this amazing opportunity to represent a huge portion of El Pasoans, a huge portion, um, to represent his district. These are American people. And I'm not talking about the illegal aliens that are within his district. He's not there to represent them. That's not who he's supposed to be representing. And you know, they have to go home, and they have to come into this country legally. Legally. It's very important, and I can say that because my family has had to do that. Has had to wait their turn, has had to fill out the paper. You should see the paperwork we had to fill out for Robert and Richard. I mean, it was huge. My mom had to legally come into the country and had to study hard to get her American citizenship way back in 1965. You know, we had to follow my German grandmother. We had to follow the laws for her visas. Um, my son-in-law, uh, you know, this is we're an international family. And if there's no respect for laws and no respect for um, equal counterparts, the levels in a government, then we're just in chaos, and it's just like a bunch of orcs, and so much crime and so much pain. And yeah, and you can want certain rights or whatever, but you have to do it legally. And if you don't get your way, you have to accept that, because we are a democratic republic. So that means not everyone gets their way on what they think is right and wrong. And, so, you have to, um, I guess, be a good sport then, right? You can't just do a coup and all of that. So, absolutely, This whole thing with the consulate office, the whole thing with the medical examiner's office, the whole thing with the El Paso County Courthouse, um, which, by the way, Priscilla, Reyes Mata's wife was in there for years, running around there for years. And there's something really um, just let's just say a lot of gosh, it's just a lot of leaking, a lot of criminal activity, a lot of covering up. Nobody wanted nobody wanted the media knew, the law enforcement or the judicial people knew what was going on in the federal courthouse, that Michael Maiella's daughter married Patrick Crusius's son. They knew that. They were all talking about that, but no one wanted to report on it. They didn't want that to get out. They just wanted to cover it up. But it's not just um, the huge violation of that and the conflict of interest. It's also Michael Maiella's son. Michael Maiella's son was getting a paycheck in the DA's office on August 3rd, 2019. He's a hacker. He's a cyber hacker. What's going on? You've got Patrick Crusius's family member at the DA's office, and then in the FBI's office, and with Walmart security. What's going on? And the very FBI agent he's working with, Nieto, is leaking, in our case, very dangerously, names and content of whistleblower reports that identifies the prime suspects in the murder of Richard. And then, uh, there's cover up, and people are like, wow, the prime suspects have been identified, and what's going on? What's going on? It's a cover up going on. That's what's going on. It's crime with impunity. That's what's going on. And think about that. That's crime with impunity against a US Army whistleblower soldier identifying real huge fraud, waste, and abuse of criminal trafficking on Fort Bliss within his unit that's connected to the Sinaloa cartel. That's what's going on. And it has absolutely implicated his chain of command. 100%. It has implicated. And when did I get a lot of hate or harassment or threats? When I started saying that it was the generals, that it was the generals. Because they don't have the protection like those that are in El Paso, because it's federal. And so, of course, Jaime Esparza going to the AUSA became the firewall. Well, that firewall is gone. That's why that was so important. That firewall is gone. It's going to be very interesting who becomes the new AUSA. That firewall is gone. But with the generals, and that's why they wanted me to shut up about the generals, because they absolutely have a chain of accountability that reaches Washington, D.C. And these generals need to be brought back and some of them are still there. Sean Bernabe is still there. Donna Martin, I believe, is still there. And we just got the Secretary of the Army sworn in, right? The new Secretary of the Army, taking the place of Christine Warmouth, I called her, who was absolutely, there was something strange. She had some kind of connections because she was 23, what, I think it was 23 ranks lower than Ted Cruz as a sitting duly elected senator. And she closed him down so fast. She closed him down. And I'm like, what kind of power does this woman have? Who the heck is she? Do you remember that? He was actually asking good questions, and she had some kind of power, y'all. And and it's so it's going to be interesting now with the new Secretary of the Army. We are absolutely, how can we not be? We're so hopeful with this new administration. How can we not be? We're just like, phew, relieved. Get rid of them. Get rid of them, and they need to be held accountable. You know, um, they do. They absolutely do. So, yeah. And so there's just a lot of feedback that we're getting that is really, really excellent. And hopefully our senators will get back their power. Hopefully Ted Cruz now could be like, "Ooh, I am really a senator. I don't have to fear the Secretary of the Army shutting me down." I can't, it's like 4 years of a ruse, or they were just like masquerading their part because they really had no power. Were were the Sinaloa cartel controlling it all? I mean, it's very interesting to ask that question because, billions and billions of dollars. What kind of power were they buying with that? There's only so many Maseratis you can buy. There's only so many, villas you can buy. I mean, billions and billions of dollars. What are you doing? You really want to maintain, right? You want to maintain. So how do you maintain? You have to, I guess, buy some power, right? Um, and who sold out? And, how many people were hurt to maintain that power? Because these are like, the mob boss, the mob boss. Yeah. And so that's why we don't hang on to anything. We have to come on every day. Sometimes it would be really nice not to, not to, right? It would be very nice. But I've got to come on every day, y'all, because this information has to get out. And right now, with this whole thing with Tony Gonzalez, I think that you need to make your voices heard. I hope that you do. I hope that there are some out there that are willing to share, that are willing to assert their power as we have a government ran by the people, for the people, of the people, under God, under God. Um, you know, and stop this. Well, I think you can help because right now the laws change. I don't think under Biden it was possible. I really don't. You'd really get bullied. You really were not safe. I think we're much safer now, speaking our power, asserting our power, um, than when we were, 2 months ago, a month and a half ago, because we were absolutely um, bullied and everything. So I think this is a really good time to um, a safe time, a safer time to assert your power, and yeah, to speak out. That's all. That's all that that we can do, right? Really legally. We write letters and we speak out. If they take that away from us, they're taking away our freedom. They're taking away our country. And of course, we have our, of course we have our other rights, but that is that First Amendment right and the Second Amendment right to protect ourselves, um, because absolutely we have had to make sure that we have the Second Amendment on our side in order to um, do the First Amendment because we were bullied. We were so harassed. Wow. Yeah. So, and there's only so much that a Ring doorbell can do or all the cameras or whatever, right? You have to be able to protect yourself. So, yeah, I think we are becoming much safer. I think the law enforcement, once they clean it up, it takes a little time, but it's been going, it's at least it's going in the right direction. And I think tomorrow we're going to hear some, it's like they're at 2016 right now, right? That's what I'm hearing, all of the Russia, Russia, Russia stuff and coming out with the little black book of the island, right? The little island with the black book of, up to no gooders. And and so I think they're just moving up through the years and yeah, we're very hopeful. Thank you everyone. Sorry talking so long. I'm very excited about what's happening. So thank you so much. We love you. We really love you. And please share all of this news. And